What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Fame Ready, the podcast to show you that anything is possible. Yes, including fame. I'm your host, top personal branding and public relations expert, Katrina Owens. And this is the podcast episode that, is killing me. My internet right now. Holy, you guys. This is like one of those mornings. You know, when you're like mad and you're like stomping around the house and your shirt gets caught on a door handle and it kind of like slingshots you. And like that only happens when you're already in a bad mood. That's kind of like my morning. Not like that specific thing happened to me, but because this morning I'm currently running the Fame to Fortune Challenge live inside Telegram. And so every single morning I have recorded this cute little video training for everyone inside the challenge. And I've just been like, when I decided to do this, I'm like, let's keep it like easy, quick 15-minute video. I record it on Zoom, upload it to YouTube. Bob's your unkie. That's what Gabriel always says. Bob's your unkie. Okay. And so I go to do that this morning, and my Zoom is like not connecting. And then I finally like get the recording out. But then like when I end the recording in Zoom, I have a sneaking suspicion that something's wrong. And lo and behold, I go into Zoom to get the recording, and I'm like frozen the entire time. It is unusable. So I had to record it a second time. So a task that should have just taken me 15 minutes, 20 max, once you count in like uploading it to YouTube and then sharing it in Telegram, took me like an hour, because I also had to restart my modem. I had to, I restarted my computer, like all the things. I had to like be mad about it for a second, question my life choices. And then I went to record this podcast episode and I was having the same problem. Tell me why. I live in one of the most like highly populated areas of my country, Canada, and my internet is still like freaking terrible. Tell me why. Why haven't we figured that out yet? It makes no sense. But anyways, I'm here. I was like, let's just try one more time and see if it works, because I have so many things to do, you guys. Like, I looked at my calendar to like see like, okay, well, like where could I like move this recording if it's not going to happen this morning? And there wasn't really a place to put it. Okay. Your girl's tired. She's been firing on all cylinders. And I've been like beaten around a little bit this week. And that really is what this episode's going to be about, because I love you all. You know what's really cool? This podcast is growing really rapidly right now. Like every single week, I'm like astounded by the new listeners, how the episodes are like popping off. And I haven't even really been like sharing them on social media, only because I'm like, for some reason, I just forget. It's terrible. I know. I just forget. But, I once in a while remember, and then, but this sounds terrible. Like, things are a bit rocky behind the scenes. Okay. But I've got a new team member on board. Shout out Serena. Shout out Christina Bartold, who actually referred her to me, because it's been like 4 days and she's already made my life so much easier. So I'm hoping that with this extra support, I will be able to create more content, be a little bit more consistent on social media. Try not to put too much pressure on myself to do that, because I know I'm doing a lot. And yeah, but we've got big things in the works. We can't really slow down. But this week kind of beat me up a little bit. And I know like last week's episode was like wah visibility blocks. This is different, okay? Because part of being a highly visible personal brand means you're going to make big decisions, you're going to take big risks, you're going to decide to like make some big investments, and that's going to mean asking for things, whether it's pitching a brand partner, pitching a publication, what else could you do? You could like pitch a collaborator, pitch yourself to be on a podcast, apply to a speaking gig. Like, when you're integrating more visibility into your personal brand, you're just putting yourself out there more. and you're giving yourself a lot of opportunity to get a yes. Okay. But you're also giving yourself a lot of opportunity to get a no. And I always say, like, PR is basically rejection therapy. Like, if you really want to like know what it feels like to like get rejected and move through it, PR is that thing. And I wanted to just like actually talk really practically about what that looks like. Like, we're going to talk about the no's today, and not just like you hearing a no, but you also knowing like when it's okay to say no. I know that kind of plays into like the boundary conversation that we had last week, but that's not really what I want to talk about in this episode. Um I guess what I'll start with is we had a really interesting question in this week's Fame Ready Entrepreneur program. One of the women inside the program was telling me about a particular speaking engagement that she was offered. She actually got the opportunity through the opportunity drop that we do every single week inside Fame Ready. Every single week, my team and I are putting new speaking opportunities, podcasts, media that is looking for personal brands like you to contribute, to be interviewed, to apply to speak. So the Fame Ready entrepreneurs are all up in that, looking for all the opportunities and landing them. So, but here's the thing. You can pitch yourself, you can apply to things, you can like really put yourself out there. Not every opportunity that comes back to you is gonna be one that you like want to say yes to. And that's okay. So let me give you an example here. So the Fame Ready entrepreneur, she had applied for this particular speaking engagement, and the organizer came back, and my client had pitched on the topic that's really true to her and her expertise. The organizer came back and was like, well, could you like more speak to this particular topic, which was a bit more broad, and I would say like really like loosely related to what my client speaks on. And my client was just like, what would you do in this situation? Like, I'm not really feeling like lit up by this possibility anymore. It's feeling like a lot of work. And I was like, it's okay to say that actually that's not going to work for me. Okay. I even had this conversation with a brand partner a couple weeks ago. They offered me a particular kind of payment structure that I wasn't really interested in. And I just said, sorry, that's just not going to work for me. And it's no hard feelings. This is all business, guys. So when it comes to like you having a very strong personal brand, it's knowing that like it's also okay to like acknowledge when an opportunity just isn't going to fit. And you're never too far into a process to say no. I think sometimes we think, oh, well, like I pitched to it or like I applied to it. So now I feel obligated to the opportunity. Absolutely not. I mean, I even had this come up earlier this month. I guess it was maybe a little bit more like 2 months ago, but back in the fall, I had applied for a particular speaking opportunity. And then as time went on, my mind changed around like whether or not that opportunity was really for me. There were a lot of reasons why. It was going to be travel in a week when I was already traveling to something else. So I was like tired just thinking about it. I had kind of felt like my brand had evolved past what I thought the opportunity was going to be able to deliver. And it didn't feel nice to say no because I did end up getting the opportunity, and the person that was offering it to me was someone who, I had an existing relationship with, and I was hoping that me declining wasn't going to like ruin the relationship or anything like that. It didn't, but it was still just an uncomfortable process. Like, it is uncomfortable to like say no to something, but this isn't dating, okay? Like, it's not like you're leading anybody on, okay? If, you get this opportunity and you're like all of a sudden something's feeling sticky, you can just say it's not going to work for you, okay? Like, especially if it's a free opportunity, it's requiring you to like really pour into whatever it is to be able to see a return. You've really got to make sure that that aligns for you, okay? So that's what it looks like to say no. The last thing that I'll add there is I think sometimes we feel like we can't say no because if we like say no to this opportunity, it's like, well, it's the only thing that I have right now. I want to remind you that there are an abundance of brands, speaking gigs, podcast interviews, media. There are an abundance of opportunities out there. Okay. You saying no to something is actually just going to open the door for so much more opportunity to flow in. That I do believe. And that is what I actually found myself telling myself this week, because I was unfortunately told no a couple times, and it's hard to be on the receiving end of the no. Okay. So I'll walk you through the like most disappointing one, because then I'll tell you what I did after the fact, because everything pans out in the end. So yesterday, I guess it was a couple days ago, actually, I'm getting all my timelines mixed up. This is a great time to have a sip of coffee to make sure I'm like, keeping up with my brain here. Okay, this day's really taking it out of me for some reason. Okay, so about a month ago, I pitched a potential sponsor on being like the presenting sponsor of Big Brand Energy, my 100-person female entrepreneur event that's happening in June here in the Vancouver area. So I had pitched the sponsor. I had met the brand reps in person at an event like back in the fall. So it'd been a couple months, but I knew that they had remembered me. We'd all followed each other. So in January, once I started to pull the pieces together on the event, I was like, okay, now I've got to like pitch them and like get them on board. So I did. I had a really great conversation with my brand rep. I put together an incredible sponsorship deck. In the meantime, have brought on some other incredible sponsors, but I really wanted this one. Okay. And it wasn't actually because of the money. It's really interesting to like now be at a place in my business where like it's actually like not about the money. It like I know that the money is there and it's coming. It's actually all about alignment. So I really wanted this brand to be involved because I think they could have provided some incredible resources for the women in the room at Big Brand Energy. They were going to leave an impact. It was really just going to be like feel really good, right? And so I had this like vision, this dream. And I had a really great relationship with the brand rep that I had met. So sent that all off like a couple weeks ago. And then as the weeks went on, I hadn't heard anything, but I know these things can take time. So I just kind of like kept it moving. And I had it on my list that I was going to follow up actually this week. I didn't need to follow up. She eventually followed up with me and was basically like, listen, after some back and forth with our sponsorship team, they really like want me to like be involved with you and your events and get to know you a little bit more, like for at least a year before we like commit to something like this. And like, I fully understand that from a business perspective. Like, I'm like, yeah, like brand alignment's so important. But like my inner, my sweet, delicate, like inside Katrina, like really took it personally. Because I think when like it's so funny, I was having this conversation with someone, a friend of mine, like after the fact, someone who also works with sponsors and events, and we were joking because I was like, it's so weird because like no actually wasn't it like didn't feel like it was in the realm of possibility. Like I didn't think I was gonna get a no. I thought I was gonna get like a negotiation or like a hey, can it look like this? Like it didn't. Like no was not in my realm of possibility. So I think that was like part of what shook me because I was caught really off guard. But also, like, because it's not about the money, I wasn't like, oh, wow, that's like $10,000 I won't receive because I know I can go find another $10,000 sponsor. That part feels easy, actually. Um, it was like oh, there's something about this event or me that they don't see value in. Okay. And that's just a story I'm telling myself. Like, people's businesses say no for like a variety of reasons. But for me and my like deepest insecurities, that was what the no meant. And I could feel that because I was like trying to see like, the past version of me would have been upset about the money. That didn't even come to the forefront. It really was like, there's something about this, my event, my brand, me, that made them say no or not trust me enough. And it feels actually really cleansing to like just say this all out loud. Um, and I think it's just important to share because I think that's a big reason why like the inner work of entrepreneurship is just as important as the outer. Because at the same time of me telling myself all these things, I also am holding like separate awareness that like, okay, Katrina, these are the stories that your insecurities are telling you right now. You literally have no idea what the conversation was. Keep it moving. So let's talk about how I actually kept it moving. First, I want to let you know that I actually like just let myself be sad. Okay. Um, bless him. Gabriel is like, for those of you that have never met my partner, Gabriel, he's like a true, like, manly man. Like, he's a bit rough around the edges, sensitive, not in his skill set. So like and we're still in the middle of these home renovations, obviously. So he's been working on building up this closet, which by the way looks absolutely stunning, gorgeous. He's doing a great job. But he's been working on this every single night in addition to like running his landscaping company during the day, every day. And he was like in the middle of building out this closet. And I was just like, I had a really bad day. And he was just kind of like, sorry to hear that, and kept it moving. And he was like, that happens. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but like, ugh. So, anyways, he goes upstairs and I'm like, well, life goes on. Guess I got to make some enchiladas. So I like was making my like enchilada meal kit, just like really feeling my feelings. And then like he came down to have dinner and so we're eating dinner. And then I told him like I didn't get the sponsorship. And then like knowing me, again, none of this will come to a surprise. I just like started crying. And I was just like, I'm sad about this. I'm like crying at the dinner table like I used to do when I was 14. Crying at the dinner table and he's just like, like this is just what happens. Like you're going to figure it out. Like it's fine. Like it's like, and it's funny because like, I didn't really feel like I didn't really feel like that warm and cozy from him. But I do have to give a shout out to all of my like really great like business besties who run events, who know what it's like to deal with sponsors because I had like little chats with each of them and like they just reminded me like, yeah, this fucking sucks. This happened to me. You're going to be fine. You have so much time. Like you're okay. And I was like, yeah, I know, but it's great to just like commiserate with people that like can understand. Gabriel is just like, I know this sucks, but like it's not the end of the world, which is such a man thing. We love him for that. He gives me like he is great for a reality check. So, anyways, I let myself feel sad, let myself have a little cry. Then I had to wake up the next day and just like keep it moving. And so for this particular thing, I have like this vision of like the type of sponsor that I want, what I want that engagement to look like. So I made a list of everyone that I know that could either like introduce me to someone who might be interested or just someone from my network that might be interested. So by like kind of giving myself some space, I actually thought of like 5 different people who would be perfect for this particular opportunity. And I didn't actually reach out to all 5 right away because in my mind, there's a bit of a hierarchy. Okay. And I'm not someone who likes to actually hate being put in the position of like, I've sent out an offer to like 7 people and then now it's like come back and I have to like manage expectations and be like, oh, it's actually not available anymore. Like, so I kind of made the ask to 2 people that I am like would be kind of like my top choices. Um, only because of what the value that I think that they could bring and what I actually think the impact could be. And that really is the business element of it, right? And I think whenever we're dealing with like outside vendors, sponsors, partners, collaborators, there is this opportunity for people to say no or for things not to work out. So I think what's really important as a personal brand is you've got to have the clear vision of like what you really want for a particular thing. So for me, I am really able to like clearly articulate what I want for that particular opportunity, the kind of person that it's for, like what I want it the collaboration to look like, the impact that I want it to have on my event attendees. That's all like very, very clear, which actually makes the bounce back easier because I'm like, okay, you know what? That sucked. That was sad. Let's keep it moving. So kept it moving, was able to like go through like the imaginary Rolodex in my brain and make a list of like other great people that I think could have a similar, if not even more amazing impact. But that's also the really important thing about like networking, building your network, building relationships. Because if I hadn't been doing that for the last 12 months, I would not have been able to like really go through and like make this list of people that would be an incredible backup. And I think that's what made the no softer. You know, I didn't like mull on it or like cry over it for days. Like I gave myself a sad moment, like let yourself feel your feelings. And then we moved on. And, you know, I'm having some great conversations about it. And I'm just confident that, you know, it'll work out how it's supposed to. But that really is how you kind of balance business with the rejection because hey, this is a part of the work. I think the most important thing you can do is remember that it's not personal. Um it never is. Especially when it comes to like sponsorships and partnerships, organizations, businesses, companies, like they have to know like what their ROI is going to be. They have to be able to feel like whatever they're investing in you is going to be a sound investment. So it's really important to know those things like as you start making these asks. Okay, so for me, I know what my opportunity that I'm offering to potential sponsors and partners, I know what the value is. And I think that's why I'm able to like not make it the money thing. I'm like, I know what the value is. I know someone's going to like see the value and like benefit so greatly from this. Makes it so much easier for myself to keep it moving. So I think it's really important for each and every one of you who might be talking to sponsors, talking to brands, even if you're just like trying to look for more like speaking opportunities and things like that. Know exactly what you bring to the table, but know your stats, okay? Know what your conversion rates are. Know what people say, the testimonials, the impact that you have. If you cannot articulate that, you've got more work to do on the personal branding front, okay? You really have got to be able to showcase the value, articulate the value that you bring to the table. And that actually makes the rejection like so much easier because you can really just stay strong in that and just know like, you know, not every opportunity is going to be for me, but the ones that are going to see this. Okay. So that's what that looked like. Um, What's another no that I got? Okay, so I really wanted like a specific award that I had applied for back in the fall. Last week I got the email that I didn't get it. Okay. Um, this is not the first time this has happened to me. I have been a finalist for awards before and haven't won them. Um, yeah, actually, like as a business owner, I actually haven't like, you know, I've received some awards, but like none of the ones that like I've like really wanted. Um, yeah, that's in my future. I know it is. So that was also a hard one. And I think even with this particular award that I had applied to, I had been nominated for it by a couple people. Like it really felt like there was, you know, a really big portion of my audience was like excited and really interested in, you know, seeing me get it. So I think that adds to the delusion sometimes because it's like, oh, well, like look at my audience. They really think I'm worthy of this. And then when we don't get it, it's a bit of a surprise. But I actually think that that's an okay headspace to be. I actually think like, you know, for those of you that maybe don't know me as well, in my corporate career, I really was like a negative Nancy. Okay. I had very low self worth, very low self confidence. The personal development journey I've been on over the last 3 years is insane. And I do think that that has been the key to like my very rapid growth. You know, it's interesting. Like, I get a lot of comments from people who are like, "Oh my gosh, looks like so many amazing things are happening. Like, you're on fire. Like, so cool to watch, blah blah blah." Those are things people have been saying to me for like a year now, okay? Like it hasn't stopped just because that is, and I think we think about this concept of like overnight success, and I think sometimes that's almost what, we start to follow people and we start to see them get success and win over win, and it starts to look like it's really easy because it seems like this person's getting all the speaking gigs, all the brand partners, all the opportunities, all the clients. But then behind the scenes, like to be able to get that volume of yeses, you're also getting a lot of no's. There's not a single person that has built like a big business who hasn't been turned down for something, who hasn't like, kind of questioned whether they were worthy of something. So it's just part of the journey. So I didn't get this award, and I was like, ugh. And then what's funny? But a week later, I got an email that someone had nominated me for something else. And I thought that was like pretty beautiful. And almost feel like I love to talk about like these winks from the universe. Like the universe just sends you like a little wink, like, hey, babe, I see you. I know you didn't get that last one, but like, here's this to like, keep it moving, right? So I thought that was really beautiful. Um, the other thing it's important to know, because I found myself doing this today. Okay, so I'll give you this example. I've been back and forth with a new brand that I may or may not start working with. And a couple weeks ago, when we had our initial meeting, I got off the call and I was like, I don't think these guys are interested in working with me. And that was okay. Like, I actually, like, it's interesting to like really like step outside yourself and understand like what opportunities like really like hit you hard and other ones that don't. I always think that's a really great indicator of like what you're most passionate about. So for me, like I love working with brands. Obviously, it's an incredible revenue stream. I love when brands get on board with my events because I think like that is just such an incredible opportunity to really like share wealth and opportunity with so many other people. This particular brand was more like a content partnership, and that, I mean, with for the right brand that interests me, doesn't always thrill me for like a brand that, I don't know, maybe not, maybe isn't one that I'm like obsessed with. But anyways, I got off that call and I was like, I don't know. I didn't get the sense that they were interested in working with me. And so a couple weeks went by, I didn't hear from them, and I honestly just forgot because that was like how much I actually like was not holding on to the opportunity. So I just kind of forgot about it. And then I saw this email today, literally at half an hour before I started recording this, and it was from that brand. And I felt myself brace because I was like, oh, here's the rejection email. I don't think I can like take this today. And then I was like, okay, Katrina, you didn't care about it like, last week. So stop. Like it's fine. Like just read it and get over with. And so I opened the email and they're like trying to negotiate with me because they're like, we're really interested in working with you. Oh, and I just had to giggle. I'm like, yeah, that again was that like small version inside of me who was like bracing for the no, because I think I heard no a lot this week and I was just like, that's where we're in right now. But what's funny is I also heard yes a lot this week too. In the 12 hours between getting a no from one sponsor, had another amazing sponsor say yes. Um, I got an incredible invitation to like this exclusive event that you like can't buy tickets to. You have to like fill out a form to be able to like be eligible to like get an invitation, the whole thing. And I got an invitation and I was like, that's so cool. I got that nomination from, this other award. So despite like all of the no's, I've also got a ton of yeses. But as humans, we have like that negativity bias. I mean, I've read so many like mindset brain books, subconscious repatterning, where I know that that's like common human pattern to like expect the worst. But I honestly think, because like that's a pattern that I don't think anyone fully grows out of. I think we get triggered. And so I think because I had such a volume of no's this week, I actually like kind of triggered myself into an old pattern of like expecting no's. And that's why I felt myself like brace for bad news. So, yeah, kind of a roller coaster. That's the roller coaster of entrepreneurship. But I think to like bring this back to the practical side of things, because this is what I've been talking about a lot right now. If you want to secure like a high volume of opportunities, like if you want to be the person that's receiving yeses, maybe the yes to speak on the stage, the yes to work with a brand, yes to clients, volume is everything. Okay. So if you're not pitching and applying to speak at a lot of events, you're not going to get a lot of bookings. If you're not, constantly making relationships with new brands, asking for an introduction, going to events where you can meet people in person, you're not going to get a high volume of brand partnerships. Just like if you're not doing, consistent marketing, consistent networking, that sort of thing, you're also not going to see a high volume of clients. So volume really is everything, but especially in PR. And I think that's what people forget. Like people will say, it feels like things are like moving slowly right now. I'm not really getting like any yeses, or like the conversations aren't moving the needle. And typically it's because you're not having enough of them. And that's actually why I say like having a personal brand-based business is still a full-time job. I work like I want to say I work 9 to 5. I work like 9 to 9 a lot of the time because I'm a psychopath. I'm trying to get out of that pattern, but I'm finding it challenging, even though I'm like starting to have less to do because my team has grown. I'm still like, it's something I gotta, that's for me to work out with me, apparently. But I really think the overnight success, or this like fast success that people are seeing from me, is because I spend such a high volume of my time pitching to a lot of things, getting into a lot of rooms. Like I'm really putting like the energy and the reps in. So if you want to see good results using PR, and if you want your personal brand to grow more quickly, the faster you will grow is the more effort and energy and like opportunity you put into it. This is why team growth is really important, because I learned this the hard way. The reason why I have not been as consistent on social media over the last couple of weeks is because my business is growing and I'm starting to get bogged down in the admin side of things. I'm having like way too many things to do. It's evidently burning me out. And so I had to bring on that new team member to really support the growth so I can get back to like being creative, creating consistent content, which is the revenue generator. So wow, this conversation went in a whole like stream of consciousness. It didn't really intend that to. But what I really want you to take away from this episode is like, if you're hearing no, if people are saying no to you, it's normal. But it's how you integrate it into your business that is really going to like turn the nose into like just a blip instead of like the defining moment. So the more that you can integrate systems, expand your network, have a very consistent and highly visible personal brand, the more that those no's aren't really going to have an impact on you, right? So that's really what I really want you to take away from this. And if you're looking for a high volume of opportunities, then you must join the Fame Ready Entrepreneur Program. Okay. This is the place where I make sure that everyone in this program gets access to speaking opportunities, media features, podcast interviews. I'm constantly making sure that the women inside that program have things to pitch to, because volume is such a big part of seeing yes more often. So if you want to join the Fame Ready Entrepreneur Program, I'm running a very special promotion right now where when you join right now, you get a free ticket to Big Brand Energy here in June. So when you join that kind of main Fame Ready Entrepreneur Program, you get a free general admission ticket. If you join Fame Ready VIP, which is a closer proximity program where you get access to everything inside Fame Ready, plus weekly one-on-one access with me, quarterly strategy intensives. You get a free VIP ticket. Okay. So if that's interesting at all to you, we're going to put the group coaching, Fame Ready Entrepreneur group coaching link in the show notes. And anyone that registers, this is coming out beginning of February. So if you're listening to this between February 2026 to May 31st, 2026, this offer applies to you. So all of that is in the show notes. If you're listening to this like in a year from now and you're like, I want to join Fame Ready, it's my legacy. It's still available for you. The event situation probably looks a little bit different, but feel free to visit the show notes and hop right in. Okay. Hope you love this episode, you guys. Please follow me at Katrina Owens PR on Instagram. Head to the show notes to learn about how you can work with me. Leave this podcast a 5-star review on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts. It would mean the world to me. And I really hope that you get a yes this week. Actually, fuck it. I hope you get a no this week because that's what's going to build character. Okay. And when you do, send me a message and let me know how you moved through it. Okay. Okay, you guys, I'll see you all next week. Toodles.